Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today, as you can probably tell by the title and what is in front of you, I'm going to be taking a look at the third Doctor season finales, and I'm going to be ranking them all from 5th to 1st, as there are 5 finales. And I just wanted to put this out here. As I was composing this list, I did realise that I actually really like all of these finales, and my number 5th spot, aka the bottom spot, is actually still like a 7 out of 10. So if your favourite is nearer the bottom of the end, take it with a pinch of salt, because I really do enjoy these stories, and they're 5 of my favourite Jon Pertwee stories as they are anyway. So yeah, well done Jon Pertwee for having brilliant finales. So without further ado, let's take a look and see what is at the bottom of this ranking. So in number 5 we have got Planet of the Spiders, which obviously is Jon Pertwee's swan song, his final story in Doctor Who. Well, technically not his final story as Doctor Who, but you get what I mean. And it's very good actually. It probably is 1 or 2 parts too long, because there is just an episode of Jon Pertwee riding around on that hover vehicle thing. There are quite a lot of vehicles in this, I think, if I remember correctly. I think the Great Spider is quite cool in how it sort of links back to the Green Death slightly. When the third Doctor went to Metropolis 3, I think that's a great sort of tie-in there. However, obviously this was never really planned to be the finale. It was going to be a bit bigger, but sadly due to Roger Delgado's death, it all changed. And I think this is a very good episode actually. Like I said, it's probably 1 part too long, but I think the regeneration itself is very emotional, and it's one of the last proper unit stories, and I think there are some really creepy elements of the story that are just quite sweet really. So yeah, nothing really bad to say about this story, apart from it is maybe 1 part too long, and the editing isn't that great, but who knows, when it gets the Blu-ray treatment it might be a lot better, who knows. In at number 4, this could be quite controversial, but it is the Green Death. I say it could be controversial, it's not that I dislike this story at all. I rewatched it about a month ago and I gave it an 8 out of 10, so it's still very, very good. Again, it's a brilliant 6-parter, it closes season 10. I think it might be one of my favourites of season 10, if not my favourite. It's obviously got the emotional departure of Jo Grant, which is done beautifully. Definitely one of my favourite companion departures in the entire show. And it is really creepy in some elements. It's quite dark, it's also quite green, and I do love the involvement of Unit. I think Benton gets a lot to do, Yates gets a lot to do, which I love Yates, as you can probably tell. Well, I don't know if you can tell that, but Jon Pertwee as Animal's A-game, and I love Stuart Bevan as, what was the character? Ooh, that's totally slipped my mind. But yeah, he does a great job here on the right. You can see him with Katie Manning. It's just overall a very decent 6-parter, and one that I can probably go and watch whenever, really. Yeah, it's really good. In at number 3, now this also might be controversial, it's the Time Monster. Now this is definitely the most underrated Jon Pertwee story, I'd say. It does get a lot of hate for some reason, and I can understand that in parts 5 and 6, but I think the first 4 parts are flawless pretty much. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, and I watched it last summer for the first time in absolute years. I hadn't watched this story in God knows, I don't even know if I had watched it before. That's how much I don't remember. But it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. It flows really nicely, and all the cast are on top form, and it is that sort of summer day story. So if in the summer, if you're looking for stories, new stories, this is definitely one I'd recommend. Roger Delgado is in this and he does a brilliant job. Jon Pertwee, Katie Manning, the Unit team, everyone, and there's even a baby Benton, which you might get, you might not, but if you watch the story then you'll understand. It's brilliant, so definitely go and check this one out if you haven't, because it is an underrated gem in my opinion. Coming in at number 2, we've got The Daemons, which, what can I say? It's the finale to season 8, and it is amazing. This story is 5 parts, but I think the 5 parts really suit it. There are only 2 other 5-part stories in Classic Who, The Dominators and The Mind Robber, which are still very good. But The Daemons is brilliant. It has all the things that you probably want in a Classic Who. It has beautiful locations, beautiful villains. Well, I say beautiful, that's not really the best word to describe them, is it? Scary villains. The cast are on top form. Overall, it's just very good. Roger Delgado is at his A-game here. and it just makes for 5 really entertaining parts. This is a must watch for any classic Who fan, any Jon Pertwee fan, because this will definitely, I haven't heard anyone say a bad word about the Damons, to be honest. It's brilliant, and if you don't love it, then that's a bit weird. I'm joking, we're all entitled to our opinions, but seriously, this is a great story, and one that I really recommend that you check out. And number 1, I mean, you've probably worked it out by now, it's Inferno. Inferno. So I rewatched this story last October, and it was brilliant. Every second of it was amazing. It's 7 parts, but it is definitely the strongest from season 7 in my opinion. It's very based under siege, or I don't know if that's the sort of category you'd put it in, but it's there's a relatively small cast, and there's that whole parallel universe idea, which I think is absolutely fascinating, and I think this was the first time they did a concept like that, but they really hit the nail on the head here. It's brilliant. I can't fault this story at all, really. I think I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. If I were to maybe say one criticism, I reckon this could have been condensed into a 6-parter, but it was brilliant. Jon Pertwee is, this is his, 4th story, I believe, and he already feels like the Doctor, a Doctor you would love. And honestly, I say this for every story in this list. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch it, because it is amazing. And when this gets the Blu-ray treatment, hopefully in the next year or 2, I'm sure this will look absolutely stunning, because there are some weird sort of colour issues, I believe, because this might have been in black and white originally. I'm not sure, I could just be making that up. But it's amazing, and I don't know how many more times I need to say it. I think the villains are, they're called the Primoids, really creepy, and the whole idea is pretty simple actually if you think about it, but it's the fret is real, and it's brilliant. And Liz Shaw, again, one of my favourite underrated companions. So there we have it, that was me ranking the 3rd Doctor season finales. This was a pretty impromptu, quick video, but considering I've watched most of these in the past year or 2, and they're all brilliant stories, I thought I'd show the 3rd Doctor a little bit of love, because he is a brilliant Doctor, and definitely his era is one of the most consistent in any show, to be honest. I can only really think of 2 or 3 duds in his entire run, but the finales are very, very strong. So there we have it. Please comment down below what is your ranking of the finales, of the ones you've seen or whatever. I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a like, and maybe subscribe if you want to stick around. So there we have it, guys, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that may be. Bye for now.